Every insurance? Private? Right. You can be at home. Here, this is my office. The station is my office. So they take insurance. It's all good. Called Express Labs.
You know, almost 80% of all medical decisions are based on lab tests.
Well, it's critical, and we're going to draw some blood. Then we have to do urine sample. I'm a big fan of urine assays. They can learn a lot from urine tests, so it's all good.
Now, you have to go how many times a year and have your blood done?
I'm in the clinic all the time, but this is for something different. I was just in the clinic on Monday, and I had a CBC done and some other tests done, but that's for a different issue. This is for my other physician.
If you're, let me ask you this, because if you're a cancer risk, you have cancer, hereditary cancer runs in your family, and at a certain age, how many times should you go and get tested a year?
This depends. If you're a woman and that there's a gene in the family for breast cancer, and you're at a certain age, you need you should be checking it, frequently, at least once a year, at least, depending on your risk. And there's people, melanoma.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Melanoma. A friend of mine has a brother. Had a spot on his back. He didn't see it. Okay? Turned out to be melanoma stage 4. It had metastasized. In a lot of trouble. Nobody saw it. Nobody caught it. That's just something you can see.
Right.
Now, oftentimes you can't see, and that's where the lab tests and urine samples become very important. And if you're at risk for a certain disease, you're getting checked all the time. If you're a cancer patient, former cancer patient in remission, you're being checked a lot. You're going in there 3-4 times a year to be checked, drawing blood. They're doing various tests, CBC and various other tests that they run, panels, and it's necessary. It's changed the landscape. I mean,
no.
I can't even imagine the world of medicine being practiced. I mean, it would come to a standstill.
But what if you're in a? Well, now my other question is let's say you're in a profession where you have a high cancer risk. Lawn sprayers. Remember the pamphlet I brought you in the other day?
They should be checked all the time. All the time, at least twice a year. You go in. They can do blood tests. You can see, if you're at risk. Yeah. I mean, it's nothing. Most people don't even think that way. I mean, to get somebody to go in and just get a blood test done for their, to get a lipid panel done, it takes extraordinary effort. Never mind. Most people are not thinking in those terms, Gary. They don't think that way. Okay. Usually a person's going to get a blood test is because their doctor told them to. That's why. They're not going there voluntarily, or they went to the doctor and said, I want a blood draw, I want this, I want that done. Physicians determining all that.
But as a patient, can you do it yourself? Can you say, hey,
no?
No.
Mm-mm. The doctor has to write the order.
Okay.
Yoli's here from Express Labs because my physician gave her the order to draw the blood. And we're doing a whole series of a bunch of them. You saw how many tubes she took.
Yeah.
There's at least 12 tubes there.
So it's specifically for different tests.
Different tests that she's going to do for me. And I'll share that with the audience.
Okay.
I'll see what, this is totally different. It has nothing to do with cancer. It has nothing to do with that. This is totally different. Hope you're doing well wherever you're, and however you may be listening or watching the show and whatever you may be doing. There's a lot going on in the news today. The measles story does not want to go away, and I'm going to report on that. And we're going to do a little tutorial on infectious diseases. Measles is an infectious disease. And now this thing, it is totally off the chain now. There are two universities, UCLA and Cal State, quarantining students now. And, this all started in Rockland County, New York, many months ago. And now we're on the other side. Now we're on the left coast. The measles virus, as I've been saying and reporting, is a clever, highly infectious virus. I said to you, you can be in the room with somebody who's infected and you could get infected. Just in the room. Never mind close contact. Kids at school, I mean, are you kidding? They're all over each other, touching each other, playing, you know how the kids are. Now we got universities quarantining students. So we'll do a little tutorial today on infectious diseases. Gary's going to tell you how to connect, and then we're going to go to George in Clearwater.
You can reach us at 877-897-8255. That's 877-897-TALK. Dr. Garko's personal email is drgarko@letstalknutrition.com. Follow us and like us on Facebook at Let's Talk Nutrition, on Instagram at Let's Talk Nutrition, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Let's Talk Nutrition.
Okay, got it. I'm sorry.
Oh, you good?
I'm talking to Steve. Pay no attention to me, man. I'm sorry, Gary.
It's all right. Subscribe to that YouTube channel where we have over 65,000 views now, 1,100 videos, and again, it is closed caption for the hearing impaired. Share it with your friends.
More than 200 university students and employees in Los Angeles were given quarantine orders on Wednesday and Thursday. This is just days after a measles outbreak was declared in Los Angeles County. We started this in Rockland County in New York, okay? And now here we are in Los Angeles County. UCLA and California State University, Los Angeles, have been working with county health officials, it's reported in the New York Times, to identify and contact students and employees who have been exposed to measles this month. Those at risk have been contacted, were given health officer orders, legal orders issued by county officials. This wasn't a request to stay home and avoid contact with other people as much as possible. This was not, Paul, could you please stay home? No, this was a legal order, commanded. Come back, I'll tell you more. There's so much going on today. There's a story about climate change and the emperor penguins. This is a bad sign. Climate change is not in the future, it's here.
Ladies and gentlemen, listen up. It's me, your immune system. I'm always hard at work defending you against the many disease-causing viruses and bacteria that you are exposed to every day. But sometimes I need help to defeat the bad bugs. Luckily, our friends at Kyolic have come to the rescue. Kyolic has two super immune-enhancing supplements, Kyolic Immune Formula 103 and Kyo Green Harvest Blend Immune Defense. Kyo Green Harvest Blend is a power-packed blend of organic and naturally sourced grasses, ancient grains, fruits, veggies, herbal extracts, and spirulina in a fast dissolving drink mix for a quick and easy way to support immunity. Kyolic Immune Formula 103 combines immune-boosting nutrients with aged garlic extract. Aged garlic extract has been clinically shown to support a healthy immune response and reduce both the duration and severity of cold and flu symptoms. Help me protect you with Kyolic supplements and nutritional drink mixes to fortify your immune health today. Available at fine natural health retailers.
Science of psychology tells us there is a connection between looking more attractive and having more self-confidence. One way to look more attractive is to have healthy-looking hair. Ridgecrest Herbal's award-winning Hair Revive can support healthy, attractive hair. Hair Revive is formulated with a stress-fighting complex, hair growth ingredients, a hormone balancing complex, and Chinese herbs. Taken together, the ingredients in Hair Revive promote hair growth, encourage healthier, thicker-looking hair, and support recovery from damaging hairstyling techniques, harsh chemicals, and daily stress. So start looking more attractive with healthier, thicker, and shinier hair with Ridgecrest Herbals Hair Revive. Visit rcherbals.com for more information or call 1-800-242-4649 and mention this ad. That's 1-800-242-4649. This is Dr. Michael Garka, host of the nationally syndicated health talk show, Let's Talk Nutrition. Way too often, dietary supplements cost way too much. Not so at Vitamin Discount Center. Here's why. VDC sells leading national brands up to 50% off MSRP every day. Competitors' prices are matched for identical products with proof of price. If you're in the military or are a first responder, you get an additional 10% off VDC's already discounted prices. VDC even offers case discounts. And you can get connected with VDC's VIP mobile text program for additional savings and customer rewards throughout the month. The choice is clear. You can save at Vitamin Discount Center. For a store nearest you, visit vitamindiscountcenter.com or call 813-907-7066. That's 813-907-7066. Vitamin Discount Center. For life, for less.
Want to get at the core issues that make weight loss so difficult? Try PGX.
Thanks for tuning in. We're coast to coast and we're global. We added some stations. You have your notes from yesterday?
Yeah, let me get them real quick.
We added some affiliates yesterday to the repertoire of affiliates across the United States. And, we're over 60-plus markets now. And this show streams live, as you well know. If you go to letstalknutrition.com, you can watch the show there. It's also on a couple of other platforms, Facebook, YouTube, and so on. We're constantly trying to grow this show. We're constantly trying to reach as many people as possible. On that stream every day, we get about 30,000 hits a day. So that means across the globe, there are 30,000 people that will, and the company keeps track of that. It does that for us. So we know. That's on average. That's an average. So that's, 30,000 a day. We're 5 days a week. So you do the math.
So, yeah, we added WMXI 98.1, Hattiesburg and Laurel, and they're in Mississippi. Panama City's back on the air, WLTG 1430 AM, and they're also FM at 101.7. And KXLE 1240 AM and 95.3 FM in Ellensburg, Washington. That's Washington State. So we're out there now, too.
I'm glad Panama City's back on. Those people had a bad patch there with that hurricane. And welcome to all the new affiliates. This morning, this is a little unusual. I wanted to make you aware. In the studio is Yoli. She's a nurse, and she there's a service, and it's called, what's it called?
Express Laboratory Service.
Okay, Express Labs. And she came to the station today to draw my blood. Took a urine sample, drew the blood. I didn't have to go to the clinic. Of course, the order was written by my physician for her to do that. And you're in the Tampa Bay area, Yoli?
Yeah, we cover 12 counties.
12 counties. Does insurance cover this kind of service?
Yeah, all the insurance is covered. It's depending because we have own lab. So
I
if
see.
the doctor want to use their own lab, patients don't need to pay anything. If the doctors decide to go to Quest or LabCorp, it's a little charge for the travel.
Right.
But very convenience for the patients. They don't have to go to the lab. We offer going to the home or going to the office.
Yeah, this is my office. So this is a very cool concept called Express Labs. And the phone number is?
813-334-9234. And also they can email us, expresslab13@gmail.com.
Express Lab, no S.
No S.
expresslab13@gmail.com. expresslab13@gmail.com. It's a great service. It's hard for me to get into the clinic during this show. It's impossible.
We start 5:30 in the morning, Monday to Friday. So very convenient is
Wow.
the patients going to work. We can do it before going work. No missing the schedule for the day for them. So
What I did here today, so they'll come to your house as early as 5:30 in the morning. expresslab13@gmail.com, and then you can find them. They're easy to find. I really appreciate her coming here today. I just want to make you aware what's going on with this story about the measles. It's really every day now. It's getting worse. As I often say, bad things typically get worse. Good things usually get better. It turns out this started in Rockland County several months ago. I was reporting on it back then. There is a Hasidic Jewish community there, and they're wonderful people. It's a great community. They're great for the community and so on. It turns out that, and this is a report from Vox, VOX. Many of you are aware of Vox News. New York's Orthodox Jewish community they're battling this measles outbreak. They have been severely afflicted. And the headline at Vox said, vaccine deniers are to blame. Turns out, according to Vox, that anti-vaccine advocates have somehow influenced parents in this community to refuse immunizations for their kids. This has sparked two of the largest measles outbreaks in the state's recent history and in the country, for that matter. Now, as of April 10th, at least 285 people in New York City, mainly in Brooklyn's Williamsburg and Borough Park neighborhoods, have fallen ill. In nearby Rockland County, 168 people have been infected with the virus. The outbreaks have prompted health officials, according to Vox, in both areas to declare states of emergency. I mean, this is off the chain. In the city, officials ordered mandatory immunizations among unvaccinated people, threatening those who opt out with fines. And if they're not, then if that doesn't work, my prediction is they're going to arrest them. And I think they should. Nearby Rockland took the unusual step of barring anyone under the age of 18 who hadn't been vaccinated for measles from public places for 30 days. In March, they did this. I reported on it. That order was put on hold by a judge 10 days later, however. Now, what has happened is a particular group has gone into that community. It's an anti-vaxxer group, passing out pamphlets and all kinds of propaganda, whatever, trying to get people not to get vaccinated. That's how this all started. Okay? It's not the right thing. Not the right thing. Come back, we'll talk some more, and I'm going to tell you about the emperor penguins. They're in trouble.
Don't be
Welcome back. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Thanks for tuning in today. I was looking here at the story at UCLA. A student who contracted measles attended classes in 2 university buildings. That was on April 2nd, 4th, and 9th, while the student was contagious. Ugh. Once the university learned of that, they immediately identified and notified more than 500 students, faculty, and staff with whom the student may have come in contact or otherwise have been, exposed. Oh, geez, what a mess. So the story goes on. I'll keep reporting on it. There's so much more I could tell you about it. I don't want to get too tedious with it, but it's out there. Food safety, foodborne illness is a theme on this show. That's why I'm going to try to do a little tutorial today, as soon as I can locate my notes that I prepared on foodborne, infectious diseases. Foodborne disease infections are on the rise. It turns out, you can tell from my reporting. Once in a while, the food in your refrigerator ends up being in the news, or in your pantry for that matter. And I report on these. I try to be diligent. There scores of recalls, 30, 40, 50 recalls have been done already this year. And Campylobacter, that's a bacteria often found in chicken, raw milk, and water. That's the number one cause of bacterial foodborne illness since 2013. In 2018, Salmonella didn't want to be outdone. Shigella toxin-producing E. coli, and Shigella and Vibrio in the number of cases per 100,000 people. I mean, everything's on the rise. It's just amazing, the number of foodborne episodes, disease episodes, infections that are out there. I'll try to talk about this a little later in the show. But there is a Salmonella outbreak, as I speak, inappropriately, I guess, from cut melons. Tops 100 cases now of people. 24 new illnesses linked to an outbreak involving packaged melon. This is across 16 states now. It goes on and on. The outbreak now includes 117 cases of Salmonella, including 32 cases so severe the patients required hospitalization. Thank goodness nobody has died. So just keeping you up to date, keeping you aware. I'll try to talk about this more in the show. We'll see. If I can't locate my notes, I don't know what I did with them. I had them.
You buy cut fruit and stuff in the stores?
No.
Already?
No. 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 I do not. If I can't cut it, if I'm that pressed for time, then I probably don't have time to eat it either. I don't know. I guess it's okay. It was always on the back of my mind, even before I started doing this work and reporting and being in the business that we're in, Gary. And people don't wash their vegetables thoroughly enough. They don't wash the fruit thoroughly enough. And, I used to, when I was a lot younger, I worked in a restaurant and was a cook's assistant. And he used to joke. He said, "Give me a coconut, an egg, and a banana. That way I know your hands didn't touch it." Huh. His name was Marvin. I'll never forget him. Learned a lot from him. Yeah, that's how sensitive he was to the notion of foodborne illness. This is a story that's completely on the other side of the world here, and that's okay. Apparently, the emperor penguin colony in Antarctica, an entire colony, vanished. I'm not making this up. This is a very bad sign. People keep thinking, oh, climate change, that's something in the future. No, it's right now. A colony in Halley Bay lost more than 10,000 chicks in 2016, and that particular colony has not recovered. Some of the adults in the colony have been relocated. The Antarctic's second largest colony of emperor penguins collapsed in 2016. This is according to a story in the New York Times. As I said, with more than 10,000 chicks that died. The population has not recovered. This is according to a new study. They relocated some of the adults. The satellite imagery shows that. But the fact that emperor penguins are vulnerable in what has been considered the safest part of their range raises serious long-term concerns. Dr. Phil Trathan, the paper's co-author and head of conservation biology with the British Antarctic Survey in Cambridge, England, offered that comment. This is not good. It just isn't. We're now seeing more and more telltale signs. I mean, telltale? My God, we got glaciers that are disappearing, for heaven's sake. Now you have colonies. 10,000 chicks died. They have to relocate whatever adults they were able to rescue. These are hardy. This is a hardy species of animal. The emperor penguins, the world's largest, breed and molt on sea ice, chunks of frozen seawater. Kind of awkward on land for them. They cannot climb icy cliffs, so they are vulnerable to warming weather and high winds that whip across the ice. And according to the New York Times and Karen Weintraub, in her article, she said, under the influence of the strongest El Nino in 60 years, September 2015 was a particularly stormy month in the area of Halley Bay in Antarctica, with heavy winds and record low sea ice. There's no sea ice for these animals. The penguins generally stayed there from April until December when their chicks fledged or had grown their feathers, but the storm occurred before the chicks were old enough, and they died, and they lost 10,000 of them. 10,000. Dr. Trathan said those conditions appeared to have led to the loss of 14,500 to 25,000 eggs or chicks that first year, and the colony has not rebounded. The study called the 3-year decline unprecedented. 3 years of almost total breeding failure.
Feel tired?
Talk Nutrition. Thanks for tuning in today. Lots of news. Get to it. We'll in the second hour, I'm going to focus on infectious diseases, given this measles outbreak. We also have something going on here in Florida, right, Gary?
Yeah, hepatitis A.
Wanted to talk. Why don't you talk about it? You've been wanting me to do this, and I haven't had a chance to get to it.
A couple of months ago, there was a restaurant that got closed because there was an employee of hepatitis A that was handling food.
Ugh.
Then they have come out and said there was 5 more restaurants where there was a hepatitis A employee. Now, our county where we're at in Hillsborough County, where we broadcast from, is the leading county for hepatitis A in the state of Florida. So now they're trying to combat it with giving away free vaccines for the hepatitis A, especially if you went to any of these restaurants.
Just don't know. I mean, we get up every day and we don't think about these things. And, you got people working in restaurants handling food that are infected. You got measles outbreak. You got, it goes on and on. These microbes, these pathogenic microorganisms abound. And we need to be smart about that. So maybe in the second hour, I'll try to get to that. As I said, I can get my mitts on my notes. Here's a quiz question. What's the germiest, germ-ridden place in the bathroom? Speaking of microorganisms, what do you think is the most germ-ridden place in the bathroom? Stephen, he's busy. He looks like he's a little busy back there. What did you say? He said the person in it. It's a good answer. Gary, you got an answer?
Yeah, I do. I think it's the soap tray.
Not a bad guess. I thought both of you would bite on the toilet, so to speak. It's not the toilet. You're close, though, Gary. You're close.
Right.
You're close. It's the toothbrush holder. That's the people would think, well, you go into a public restroom, right? You walk into the stall or whatever, and you look at that facility, and and you think, am I at risk here? Right? You're wondering. But right in your own home, forget about a public restroom. At home, people are really sensitive to this, and I've reported on this a couple of times. What's better to use? The blow dryer in the hand dryer? They have sometimes regular towels, and then they have paper towels, all kinds of things to dry your hands. What do you think is they found to be the best, safest thing to do?
Paper towels.
It is paper towels. It is paper towels. Bacteria and viruses live in the bathroom, no question. Turns out that your toothbrush and your toothbrush holder, 64% of toothbrush holders, it's the toothbrush holder. And they did a study on household germs. It was conducted by Global Public Health and Safety Organizations, NSF International. And they tested 30 surfaces, 6 of which were in the bathroom, in 22 homes for the presence of bacteria, yeast, and mold. While the 27% of toilet seats contained mold and yeast, you heard me right, 64% of toothbrush holders did. The toothbrush holder is more unsanitary than the toilet seat. Of the toothbrush holders, 27% had chloroform, an indicator of potential what? What does that indicate? Anybody know? Not good. Fecal contamination on the toothbrush holder.
Oh.
And 14% of the toothbrush holders have Staphylococcus. Oh, for heaven's sake. Can't make that up. So if you're visiting someone and they say, well, you can use our tooth. No, use your own. Don't even think about it. Are you a germaphobe? Are you a germaphobe? No, you're not. Of course you're not. You live out there. You live out there with, I don't know what. Let's go to Tampa, Florida. Bill, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on.
Hey, Doc, I'm enjoying the heck out of this rainy day. I got sick of that bright sun on my face all the time. This is kind of Hey, I got a question for you, Doc.
Too much of a good thing, brother?
Yeah, here's a couple quick health tips for the bathroom. First of all, the toothbrush holders are always too wide, right? So put a little tape if you're using just a manual toothbrush, a little tape on it so the head doesn't hit, fall down where it's touching something, right?
Good idea.
The second is you probably use a high-end toothbrush, right? You use a Braun or something like that.
I have an electric toothbrush, yes, and I changed it. I changed the heads every 3 months.
Okay, you're killing yourself. Here's a quick tip. Get a little cup and pour hydrogen peroxide in it. Take the head of that brush and drop it in there. It's just going to explode with bacteria.
Really?
Explode. It's going to foam up like crazy, okay?
Oh, I have hydrogen peroxide at home.
Okay, drop that toothbrush head in there once every couple days. I had someone that could not get rid of a yeast problem, a candida, right? And then I started thinking about it back to grandma, right? How did she keep baking that bread with that little bit of yeast? And I thought, oh my God, they're reinfecting themselves every day with their toothbrush. That's why they weren't getting rid of the yeast problem. So I had them start putting the brushes into the hydrogen peroxide. They were better in 2 weeks.
I'll be
better
darned.
in 2 weeks.
Oh, there's a
now,
good.
Here's my tip on public bathrooms: stay the H out of them. Okay. There is no. If you go in an air, let's say you go to Tampa Airport, one of these places, you're getting exposed to viruses and bacteria from the whole entire planet. Stay out of there. Go before you go.
Go before you go. I know. And forget about the airplane. Oh, my God. Oh, jeez. You need a hazmat suit. Bill, thanks for the tip. Hydrogen peroxide. Good idea. I'll do that when I go home today. We come back. We'll talk some more. There's other stories trending. I'm really upset about that. Those emperor penguins. Man, oh, man. What are we doing? What are we doing to ourselves? What are we doing to this planet? We're better than this, aren't we? I think we are. I know we are. We just have to. This is where we live. We got to stop. We got to figure this out. It gets me. You can tell. That story really bothered me. By the way, there's a wonderful documentary on the penguins. I'm sure many of you have seen it. It's fabulous. We'll be back. Hey, welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Great to be with you. Thanks for stopping by today. Just a mess. Just a mess today. One of those days. Had blood drawn here this morning, right here at the station. What was that? Labs on the go?
Express Labs.
I know. Express Labs. What a great service. My physician, one of my personal physicians, wanted me to have a bunch. And we're having a whole battery of tests done, and I said I don't have I have to fast. I said I'm on the air. I'm up at 4:30 in the morning. I said I won't be able to eat until get my blood taken until way in the afternoon. And she said, well, they have a service. They'll come to your home, or your workplace. I said, they do? Yeah. What's that? What was that again, Gary? Labs what?
Express Labs.
Find them. Let's put a pic. I want to promote them a little bit. That young woman that came here today, immigrant into this country 25 years ago, now has started her own business. And she's working hard. She was scrambling around to get here. I have a lot of regard for that. People working hard, trying to make a living. She was great. Made it easy for me. And I'm sure wherever you are in the United States, they have such services as well. I think it's a nifty idea. Rather than going to that darn clinic and having to sit there. So, that's not it.
That's it.
It's a driver's. It says unlimited number of drivers.
No, that's for you so you can get your DOT blood work done for your physical.
Oh. Yeah, Express Labs, good company. And wherever you are in the United States, I'm sure that they have that kind of service. If you didn't know, just give you a heads up. Lots of things trending. Measles stories back in. Cal State and UCLA have now mandatory. It was a legal order given to students to stay home that they potentially were infected. One student went to class with measles and infected a bunch of people. So it goes on. The story goes on. It continues to go. Apparently, in Rockland County, in that Hasidic Jewish community, they're good people there. And what has happened is some anti-vaxxers have gone into the community and published or distributed all these pamphlets against vaccines and against vaccinations and trying to convince this community not to get vaccinated. This is according to Vox News. Now, how religion may be implicated in this, I'm not sure. I'm not an expert in that area. I don't know if it isn't, in fact, even implicated. But nevertheless, contact the show. You may, I'm waiting for Florida now to get on the radar with this measles business, Gary. We have a hepatitis issue here going on that I had asked Gary to report on. I'm going to talk a little bit about pathogenic microorganisms and communicable diseases today in this hour a little bit. Do a little tutorial, nothing real tedious and heavy. By the way, there's a recall on melons, cut melons. I reported on that in the first hour as well. If you have stories like that and there's something you think needs to be reported, call us and give us a heads up. I can't do it all. We got thousands of people out there. We could all together, we could really make this thing smoke.
877-897-8255. That's 877-897-TALK. Dr. Garko's personal email is drgarko@letstalknutrition.com. Follow us, like us on Facebook at Let's Talk Nutrition, on the Instagram at Let's Talk Nutrition, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Let's Talk Nutrition, where, again, everything is archived by date. It has closed captioning for the hearing impaired. And you can also send messages when we're live on YouTube.
Speaking of pathogenic microorganisms, I had a little quiz here today, and I asked the fellas, I said, what is the most germ-ridden place in the bathroom? Steven said the person in it, which I thought was a great answer. Gary was pretty close. He was in the right area. He said soap dish. He needed to move to the right a little bit. And that's where you will find the what? The toothbrush holder. And your toothbrush. They even found fecal matter. Are you ready? Fecal matter on the toothbrush holder and toothbrush. Oh, my goodness. People, wash your hands, man. Oh. Not the toilet seat. Not the your toothbrush holder is more pathogenically dangerous than the toilet seat. Oh, you can't make it up. You just can't make it up. The bathrooms are filled with viruses. In a study in 2014 in the journal Applied and Environmental Microbiology, a Dr. Gibbons and colleagues tested different parts of 2 women's and men's bathrooms on a college campus. The toilet seat, the soap dispensers, and the floor around the toilets. They wanted to get an better understanding of how the microbial community changes and develops over time. They found Staphylococcus, human papillomavirus, herpes, and E. coli, among other pathogenic microorganisms. Using data from home bathrooms in the Home Microbiome, there's a project, it was called the Home Microbiome Project. In past research, Dr. Gibbons and his colleagues were able to see the general trends. Most of the pathogenic bugs they found on these surfaces are coming from whom? Well, Stephen was pretty right. Humans. Maybe Stephen's answer is the right answer. Almost all humans are carriers of HPV and herpes, Dr. Gibbons said. Only about 15% of what they found was fecal bacteria. It was the humans. There are health risks associated with these germs. I don't need to tell you that. Some of these germs could be, as I refer to them, pathogenic, disease-causing. Most gut bacteria don't survive when they leave the body, so the fecal bacteria that show up in places such as your bathroom are already muerto. They're dead. Did you know that?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't. Dr. Gibbons said there is minimal to zero risk. Most people are healthy enough to prevent it from hurting us. So that's just kind of interesting. The bacteria in the fecal matter, most of those bacteria are as I said, muerto. They're dead. Now we had Bill call in, who's a healthcare professional. He said, put your toothbrush in some hydrogen peroxide. He said, you watch, it'll foam up. He said, you'll see how bacteria laden it is. I'm starting to sound like Howard Hughes. You know who that was?
Yes.
You do? What are you doing over there, man? What are you doing?
I am.
What are you doing?
You making on our social media?
Are you making pizza? What are you doing?
I am working on our social media, and I just got a message from Rufino, and he sent us. They send in toothbrush protectors. Toothbrush protector. It's a little thing you stick your toothbrush in.
Yeah, that gets germ infested too. So what you're doing is taking an infected toothbrush and putting it inside the protector.
So that's why I think you should put it in the hydrogen peroxide, like Bill was saying.
Great idea. I'm going to do that one.
Brush with hydrogen peroxide. I know a lot of people do.
Yeah, I am starting to sound like Howard Hughes. I'm getting concerned. Ridgecrest Urban. Let's talk nutrition. Focused a little bit today on pathogenic microorganisms, given I'm always reporting on foodborne illness. Food safety is a big theme. I've made it part of the show. I feel it's important to keep ourselves aware. Infectious diseases is that topic. Once they figured out what infectious diseases were and started to develop vaccines, the average life expectancy started to increase as well, along with better sanitation methods also helped. And you have different cast of characters associated with these microbes. You got worms, you got protozoa, you got fungi, you got bacteria, and you have viruses. Name the guest that comes on here and talks about these things all the time, and he's the only one.
I know who.
Who?
Dr. Cass Ingram.
Sir. He's the only one. He'd been doing it for years. Talks about these all the time. Worms, they're animals of sorts. They're helminths. They're eukaryotic, multicellular. You got tapeworms. You got roundworms. Some parts of the world, people, if you look it up, Gary, you'll see some. It's amazing. Even here in this country, people have tapeworms, roundworms. Protists or protozoa, they're eukaryotic. We're parakaryotic. These are eukaryotic, unicellular, motile organisms. Giardia, Plasmodium. They contain flagella. They have these like little tadpole legs on them, hair-like attachments. Yeah. Got fungi. They're eukaryotic as well, unicellular, non-motile, can't move. Yeasts, they reproduce by budding. Candida would be one of these. Bacteria, fungi, viruses, worms, protozoa. Boy, nice topic, huh? I wonder I've never looked this up, what the prevalence is of worms, tapeworms. Worms, people being infected with worms, tapeworms, roundworms. Gary's looking at me like I've lost my mind. I've never looked that up in all these years. I wonder how many people get infected with worms, and CDC might have something on that, Gary.
In the U.S., more than 60 million people are chronically infected by Toxoplasma gondii.
Toxoplasma. I wrote an article on that. You can find my article. Don't kiss. Thank you. Steven's got a great memory. It was entitled "Don't Kiss Your Cat." I remember sitting in class, and Dr. Kutsia, professor, who was wonderful. We talked about this in class, went through this in some great detail, and I learned a lot. And that's what got me so sensitive and aware of these pathogenic microorganisms. You can tell I found my notes. I told Gary, I said, I'll stay here till 6 o'clock until I find them. I don't know what I couldn't find them. I found them. So, it can be, you can end up in a lot of trouble. There are different, these different types of organisms, important pathogenic, bacteria, these pathogenic bacteria. My goodness. Staphylococci, you got pneumococci, you got Clostridia, bacilli, listeria. You hear me report on. Remember, I always use that little rhyme. Don't get hysteria over listeria. I'm looking here. I reported on leprosy the other day in India. They are really struggling to get this under control. Leprosy bacillus as a pathogenic. You talk about a pathogenic bacterium. Boy, that is of a special category. So, what I should do going forward is really prepare a real tight tutorial on these pathogenic microorganisms and what you can do and what you need, what to watch out for, how to get tested. It's a complicated topic. I'm not prepared to do that today, but those categories that I gave you are the ones that lays it out. Worms, protozoa or protists, fungi, bacteria, and viruses. Then you got communicable diseases, like the measles. These two topics sort of go together, right, in a sense. Among the communicable diseases, you got STDs, sexually transmitted diseases, plus other kinds of communicable diseases. Maybe you have a thought or two, something's on your mind, no guest today. Give us a call at the show. I'm going to follow up a little bit on a story yesterday about emotions globally. They did a survey.
Don't be stressed.
edition of LTN. We have some new affiliates that have joined the family of stations that air this show coast to coast. We're so happy to have them.
Yeah, it's WMXI 98.1 FM, Hattiesburg and Laurel, Mississippi. WLTG in Panama City, they're back on the air at 14:30 a.m. and 101.7 FM. And KXLE, 1240 a.m. and 95.3 FM in Ellensburg, Washington.
Where is that?
I think it's near Seattle.
I like Seattle. It rains a lot. Like it, though. Nice city. Northwest. What do eating raw or uncooked meat, kissing or owning a cat, working in your garden, or receiving an organ transplant or blood transfusion have in common? What do you think?
That's a hard one.
The answer is toxoplasmosis. Toxoplasmosis is a parasitic disease caused by a single-cell parasite called Toxoplasma gondii. I'll tell you more, but let's take a call. Go to Tampa, Florida. Del, welcome to the show on this rainy Friday in Tampa Bay. Great to have you on. We're coast to coast and global. Don't let that pressure get to you.
What? Any case, apologies for not, like so many thousands of others, did not get to you Monday. Wish you a happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. Are you older than I am?
Yes, a couple of years. 82.
Are you 82?
Yes. I've been using electronic toothbrush holder for years, and that's with the UV lights in them.
I have that as well.
I'm sorry?
I have that as well. That's a Sonicare.
Yeah, okay. The one I got is similar for Sonic, something like that. But anyway, so I certainly wouldn't leave my toothbrush sitting out open air like that. I put it in there and I hope the UV light does what it's supposed to.
It does. Bill had a good suggestion. He said, put your toothbrush in hydrogen peroxide.
And I just had another one.
Heard him say that. That's going to be a little messy. But just slip it into the toothbrush holder, close the lid, and the UV light goes on, and you're good for months and months, and then replace the battery as necessary.
Use it on the electric toothbrush, by the way. You should change that brush every 90 days, at least, because the bristles wear out. You don't realize it. They feel all right, they look all right, but they don't clean as well.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. Thank you.
And don't forget Silver Biotics, one of our sponsors, has a tooth gel now, too.
I use that.
Okay. And then another suggestion was putting them in the microwave for about 30 seconds.
It's plastic.
Oh, really?
It's plastic.
About 30 seconds, though.
Yeah, don't hold it.
Yeah.
You mentioned the UV lights. I know a lot of HVAC, air conditioning, heating companies. They have the UV lights built into systems, and that's to prevent the germs in the ducts and all that kind of stuff from recirculating through your house. So, it's just another testament to it.
That's a good idea.
One more thing was that if you already have the disease, a vaccination doesn't do you any good. Is that true?
Well, you're infected.
Exactly. So the vaccination, as I understood it, was simply a modified version of the disease so that your body could build up the antibodies and be prepared.
Well, yes.
That's what I thought a vaccination was.
Yes. Exactly. And there's so much mythology associated with vaccinations and so much nonsense. And, I mean, people are entitled to their opinion. I mean, they can think what they want, but you're not entitled to your own facts.
Yeah.
And, I have some friends who refuse to get their children vaccinated. refuse.
I remember that drive that's been around for a while about anti-vaccinations, but I'm not a fan of it.
Apparently, in Rockland County, in that one community up there, anti-vaxxers got into that community and started passing out pamphlets and telling people not to get their kids vaccinated. That's how this all started. That's how this started. And now we had UCLA yesterday and the day before, and Cal State have to send legal notices to students to stay home that they thought that were potentially contaminated, because some students went to class, apparently, who one in particular that I saw reported that was infected, and now you got universities doing forced quarantines. I keep saying, Del, that they've now fined people. It's $1,000 fine, I believe. They've fined some people already. I'm waiting for somebody to get arrested. That's what I'm waiting for. We'll see if they're going to do that.
I'm old enough that I can remember when somebody got one of those diseases at kids, and parents would always tell them to go play with that kid so you can get it and get it over with.
Oh, geez.
Those were the old days.
I caught everything under the sun. I don't know about you. German measles, mumps, chicken pox, scarlet fever. Those are 4 that come to mind. Yeah. And the doctor back in those days came to the house. It wasn't a horse and buggy, but they came to the house.
Oh, yeah. I was there, too. Yeah. I remember those days.
You remember those days?
Oh, sure. That's how they found out I was allergic to something. He gave me some quinine, and I broke out, and so he had to come back.
Is that the malaria stuff they used to give out, too? What was the malaria?
That I don't know.
Yeah.
Malaria is a vector that is the mosquito. It's a mosquito-borne infected.
Uncle Jay had malaria. That's why he got malaria.
Was he in the military?
Yeah, in Korea.
There you go.
Yep, did 3 tours.
There you go. We live in a pathogenic world. It's a toxic world as well. And I don't know. I'm just not in the mood to have people not get vaccinated. It's just not a good idea. I mean, I don't know. We always appreciate your call, Del. Are you taking care of yourself?
Trying to.
You're doing you're 82. What month is your birthday?
December.
Well, congratulations. We appreciate you. We thank you so much for listening to this show and supporting it. Come back, we'll have the LTN health question of the day. today. We've been focusing on pathogenic microorganisms today a little bit. Sort of themes that run together here: communicable diseases, foodborne illness, so on. Here's the question. I gave you the answer earlier. If you take your bathroom at your house, where you live, what is the most likely germ-ridden place in your bathroom? Would it be the toilet seat? Would it be the toothbrush holder? Would it be the soap dish? Which one of those three is typically the most germ-ridden, bacterially unpleasant place? Would it be your toilet seat, the toothbrush holder, or the soap dish?
You can reach us at 877-897-8255. That's 877-897-TALK. And through social media, I got a message that Ellingsburg, Washington is near Seattle, almost like in the center of the state.
Nobody knows. Huh?
It's on the desert side.
I like the Northwest. I like it up in there. Beautiful country. Totally different. I mean, Northern California, also, I like it a lot. But Southern California is beautiful too.
Yeah, it's in the eastern foothills of the Cascade Range on the desert side.
So many places to live, and where you live affects your health. We talk about that on the show all the time. But we'll deal with that on another day. I don't know if you know this or not. Effective vaccines are not yet available for many important infections, including most sexually transmitted diseases, HIV infection, herpes, syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia infections. You thought they were vaccines, didn't you? Tick-borne infections. No vaccine for Lyme disease, for example. Many tropical diseases. You mentioned one, Gary. There's no vaccine for malaria or Dengue, or however you pronounce it. And then you have Ebola, hemorrhagic fever, West Nile virus infection. There are no vaccines for them. People think that there's a vaccine for everything. Not yet. Go to Michael in Tampa. Michael, welcome to the show. So, Michael, in your bathroom, what is the most likely, the most bacterial or a pathogenically infected area? Would it be your toilet seat, your toothbrush holder, and toothbrush, of course, or the soap dish?
I'm going to take a stab because I wasn't listening earlier, but I think it's the toothbrush holder.
That's an interesting answer. Why did you select that?
I think it's the thing that comes, it just sits there and it's damp, and, because you never really dry out your brushes or anything like that. And I don't think
your answer is correct. And by the way, in this one study, they even found fecal matter on the toothbrush holder. I'm just saying. But you're absolutely right. It's crazy, isn't it? Every time I walk into a public bathroom, some of these public bathrooms, you just say, boy, this is a risk. This is risky business. To do your business. But it turns out that it's the toothbrush holder and the toothbrush. My toothbrush, it's a Sonicare. It has a UV light. You can take the brush off and put it inside a little chamber, and it'll kill the bacteria. But we had a caller earlier, Michael and Bill, and he said, put it in hydrogen peroxide. Put your toothbrush in hydrogen peroxide. Yeah.
Well, that's a thought. We have that at home.
Yeah. Hi. How are you doing, Michael?
I'm doing great. Just a rainy day in Tampa, so it is what it is. Just trying to get my work done.
Are you taking care of yourself?
Absolutely. absolutely.
You keep is your health on the forefront of your mind, or are you so consumed with, taking care of your family and your work and so on that it gets shifted down in priority?
No, I'm a health nut. Have been for years, and so ultimately it's one of the top 3 things in my life. So just taking care of myself. I'll be 64 in a couple of weeks.
Oh man.
Yeah, so it is what it is. You just try and stay well because you can't afford to get sick.
No, you can't. And given the state of insurance and whatnot, it's just a mess. You're 64. You're by today's standards, you're still a young man. You understand that, right?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
I mean, you have back in the day, a man your age, he would be retired in another
Correct.
year, 60, 65, somewhere in there. Not anymore.
No, you can't afford to retire either.
Well, that you took the words out of my mouth.
Well, when you get busy, what's the number one thing that you make sure you do every day for your health?
Boy. Every day I take the coenzyme B by Country Life. I came across that product listening to your show, and it helps maintain my energy during the day better than anything I've ever
Yeah.
used.
The coenzymated Bs. Yeah, they got that thing. It's enzymatic. It's enzymatically ready to go for you. Well, thanks for sharing that, Michael. Thanks for talking with us. Thanks for calling and listening. Congratulations. You won a $25 supplement gift card, and we appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. We appreciate you as well. Go clean that toothbrush. That's the takeaway from today's show. And go get your measles vaccination, please. Oh, my goodness. I should try to get my daughter on here. She has her PhD in virology. She studies viruses. She works for a pharmaceutical company. But she's so busy, I don't know if I can get her on here. She's been on a few times over the years. She can tell you a thing or two about viruses. She has a hefty respect for them. Trust me. We love it that you watch this show, listen to this show, and we're so grateful we got our new affiliates. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care of your health. Don't let it leave the forefront of your mind because it's your wealth.
Everyone's raving about